the October signing from Luton. And the one big surprise as Hibs get the game underway, 22-year-old David Farrell, whose last start was on the opening day of last season. It's sure to be fierce and frantic, and the goalkeepers will be glad to get an early feel of the ball, as Henry Smith does here. Conditions, as we've been stressing, are good underfoot, but when the ball is off the ground, you can just see now that the wind is going to play some serious tricks. Hibs with priorities of their own and a chance to push up above Celtic in the table if they can draw some success from this Edinburgh derby tonight. Robertson's header. Well, Keith Wright was the scorer for Hibs in the last match between these two great rivals, a 1-1 draw early in November, equalising an early goal, an inevitable goal from John Robertson, whose record in this fixture is unparalleled. 18 goals he scored for Hearts at the expense of Hibs. Brian Hamilton trying to push on forward. So Mickey Weir playing up front with Keith Wright. And Tommy McIntyre trying to organise the marking now that Alec Miller has put out for Hibs at the back. And McIntyre dropping off. Trying to make a challenge here and fouling Ian Baird. So an early chance for Hearts to flex their muscles. Also Derek Ferguson collected a bang as the ball got forward then. Well, Robertson, I wonder whether a chance here to prey on any nerves of Chris Reed, the biggest game of his life undoubtedly. And there's a gap. Robertson was trying to find it, although he rather hooked the shot. And Gary Mackay offering himself for a short corner. Mackay. Robertson right in there, and it was Craig Levine who had the first shot. Brought out well by Hunter. Here's Weir. Linking up well with Keith Wright. And Mickey Weir very nearly going all the way then. Dave McPherson sticking out a long leg to prevent a fast start from this tiny forward who's been making the headlines in Scotland over the past couple of days. He's involved in a contract dispute with Hibs. McIntyre comes forward at the corner, which Weir will take himself. Well by McPherson. Here's Derek Ferguson. Chased and fouled by Hamilton.
Well, it was a terrific counter-attack that by Hibs. Gordon Hunter, a player that Hibs are going to rely on tonight, making a great break. That's just a little foul. He clicks Derek Ferguson's heels, and he could be doing without that after just coming back through injury. But that was a great counter-attack with Hibs, and it took a terrific tackle by David McPherson to knock the ball out for a corner kick to Hibs. The game's just broke down just now. A little bit of treatment to Derek Ferguson.
Well, with Hearts playing 3 up, it looks as though Hibs have set out to mark in a disciplined way and leave McIntyre as the free man. That's the way it is at the moment.
Yeah, I think you got the shout right there earlier at the start of the game. Tommy McIntyre looks as definitely playing at the back with three marking the Hearts front three.
And one of them, David Farrell. Keeping tabs on Crab at the moment, but having to come away to challenge with Ian Baird. It drops for Derek Ferguson. John Robertson is furthest forward. 5 minutes gone. On a night when Hearts need at least a point to regain their place at the top of the Scottish Premier League. And the players here, and indeed the management as well, very conscious for an audience all over Britain of a responsibility to show that Scottish football doesn't start and end in Glasgow. And Spared trying to wheel away after his layoff, hoping for support on the left-hand side. He's been the most wholehearted performer for Hearts, an important man in their progress this season, making goals as well as scoring them. And here's Robertson, but the game has been pulled back. It is going to be very spicy in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I think that's McGinley coming in very late on Derek Ferguson once again. I think they've marked him as one of the big dangers for Hearts in the middle of the park. And I think they'll be right there as well. He's got marvellous passing ability.
Well, it's difficult for the players to track down the ball from a long clearances, but Willie Miller did very well then. John Miller. And this is David Farrell, who impeded Baird. And a free kick to Hearts. To be taken by Tosh McKinley. Gary Mackay making his way forward. And McPherson is already there. And it goes towards McPherson. Derek Ferguson gets it back. Oh, and what a try from Scott Crabb. Reflecting his growth in confidence this season. 14 goals so far and prepared to shoot on sight.
Well, as you say, man, it's all about confidence in strikers here. Scott Crabb really hits that one delightfully, and it's easy to see why he's Hearts' top goal scorer this season. Really gets over this one magnificently well and just whistles over the crossbar.
Forward from McIntyre. Dealt with easily enough by Levine, but Mackay caught in possession. Levine steps in again in that classy style of his. Well, the ball out of play. Let's get a word from the touchline on the far side and our reporter David Livingston.
Martin, it's absolutely frantic down here. The wind is incredible, of course, but both dugouts have been very vocal, and Joe Jordan is clearly furious about the physical approach of Hibs in the early part of the game. Alec Miller made great play before the game that Hibs had to win the battle instead of trying to play football from the start. And Joe Jordan's been telling Dave McPherson, look, there's been 3 bad tackles on Derek Ferguson. Tell the referee, make sure there's protection for players like that in the middle of the field.
Well, of course, winning the battle also applies from the Hearts' point of view as well. Here's Baird. Beaumont tugging away at him. Help is there from Crabb, but it's all got very tight down by the corner. It's been a great run from Hearts. 4 straight wins. They've won 9 out of their last 10. They're 13 games unbeaten. But they'll remind you here of 1986 when they finished runners-up in the Premier League on the last day of the season after an even better sequence, 27 games then. And they lost the title cruelly. Levine for Baird to chase. Beaumont, who's a defender of many parts. He's injured himself there in colliding, I think, with a corner flag.
Yeah, puts in a good tackle here, but unfortunately it's not one of the Hearts players. It's on the corner post here. I think he rattles his shin here a bit just as he collides into it. Quite a sore one, I'd imagine.
Well, there are plenty of ways of getting hurt in this game without doing that. Close to a recovery. Murdo McLeod, of course, they'd love to have been able to include the player coach. So finally, the game restarts. Beaumont did prevent the corner. Hammered forward by Weir. the result of paramount importance tonight, not just in terms of local pride here in Edinburgh, but in the context of the league table. Well, Keith Wright, who prides himself on getting in behind defenders, and that's a lovely ball for Weir. It's a great counter-attack from Hibs again. McLaren defends superbly, and eventually it's scuffed away by McKinley.
This is another magnificent counter-attack. Keith Wright pops up on the left, slides it into Mickey Weir, and it's the same as in the McPherson and the Weir incident earlier. Alan McLaren puts in a great last-ditch tackle here. Great defending, and good play by Hibs as well.
Here's John Miller. So Hearts trying to force the pace. They'll be expected to do that in the context of this game. But Hibs showing that although they've shuffled their pack defensively, trying to spin a surprise here, that they haven't come simply to defend. They've really put together the two most menacing moves so far.
I don't think there's any question about that. As we said, you expect Hibs with experience of McIntyre at Hunter, sit there, soak up the pressure and hit them in the counter-attack. And when you've got people like Keith Wright and Mickey Weir, they do take a bit of watching.
McPherson down from Crabb. Here he is again. What a change for Scott Crabb this season after the disappointments of last. And he was laid low with a virus, and his whole future with Hearts was under question. And now it's time for the referee to give Derek Ferguson some protection, and McGinley is going to be the first booking of the evening.
Yeah, I think he's maybe a little bit unfortunate here. I think he's taken the last tackle on Derek Ferguson into consideration. He goes in here, closes him down, but no real contact. Maybe the intent was there. Probably deserved the booking after all.
Pat McGinley, who was sent off a year ago in the New Year's derby, which Hearts won 4-1. But we're in the 14th minute here. It's Hearts 0, Hibs 0. Baird. No one forward for Hibs this time, as Weir and Wright had joined the pack in midfield. Alec Miller and Martin Ferguson, the brother of Alec Ferguson, down there on the Hibs bench. McKinley, there's no one really reacting to the early cross. Beaumont taking his time before hammering it away. McLaren having problems with the ball on the wind. Hamilton trying to get there first on the second ball. Smith started to come off his line. McPherson took charge and needed to do so. Baird doing the willing work again. The forefront for Hearts, the big man making space for the two smaller striking partners, Crabb and Robertson. And Hearts waiting at the free kick for Baird to get set and for McPherson to arrive. It's taken by Tosh McKinley. And he wins it back again. Run on for Robertson, not quite. And that is a good challenge by Farrell. That was a fine ball from Ferguson, and the shot from John Miller on his weaker side, the right foot. And Chris Reed looking very comfortable.
Yeah, well, it's really the first time he's had anything to do, and obviously he wasn't going to be troubled too much with that shot of John Miller's. But Hibs have settled down quite nicely at the back, and Alec Miller's known as a very good tactician, and so far so good for him defensively.
And it's very important that his system wasn't punctured in this opening quarter of an hour. It hasn't really looked too likely. of encounter that needs some firm refereeing. Miller's been in trouble a couple of times this season on a serious note with referees. Farrell. Nicely controlled by John Miller initially, while being forced back. And the wind actually helping Ian Baird screen that. Let's get another word from David Livingston.
Martin, just picking up on your points about the strength of Hibs and counter-attack. Alan McLaren of Hearts has just had a roasting from Joe Jordan, telling him to stick to Mickey Weir like glue. And you'll see now that everywhere Mickey Weir goes, Alan McLaren goes with him. And I think the Hibs bench are beginning to play in that, because they're telling Mickey Weir at all times to stay up there, even at the moment. He's going back at the moment, but I think they're telling him to get back up that field.
Well, certainly Alan McLaren has left Mickey Weir alone at the moment with some justification. It's the free kick. And it comes to McLaren, who tees up Mackay. Oh, well, it would have been an own goal. Instead, it's a corner.
Well, we're just talking about letting Alan McLaren forward. It's him that gets the shot in here, and I think it comes off one of the Hibs defenders and just squirms past the post.
Ferguson to take the corner. Here's Mackay. Now McKinley. And, quite sure what was in his mind then. Well, if there can be favourites in derby games, which I very much doubt, Hearts would have that accolade tonight, but let's not neglect what Hibs have achieved this season. Really against the odds, a magnificent recovery from the toils of last season when the club could have gone out of business, could have even been wiped out by Hearts themselves with the plan of the chairman here at Tynecastle, Wallace Mercer.
Yeah, I think the Edinburgh revival's been great for everybody in Scottish football this season, and really Alec Miller's really done a marvellous job with Hibs, as has Joe with Hearts.
And certainly Miller's players have responded when they've been shown live on television. Sky Sports with them many steps along the way to the Skull Cup. And there's Keith Wright, who scored in every round of that competition, of course. And has been one of the signings of the season. McLaren. First, and as far as Hamilton. Typically combative challenge from Hunter. He wants to go in again, but John Miller was first to the ball. Crab. Hearts trying to bring some order to the proceedings. And there are two elements here that stopping the purity of the evening, if you like. Certainly the tension surrounding the match, but also this gusty wind which has sprung up over the latter stages of New Year's Day in this part of Scotland. It's even increasing the risk of physical confrontation. McLaren intervening well again. Good control from Crab. Was it with an upper arm? It was Robertson rather. Trying to get the ball down for Crab. John Robertson, who might have been a Hibs player, but that's another story when he was a youngster. But how he's made them pay for their failure to acquire his services. Tommy McIntyre with the free kick. Derek Ferguson trying to bring some cohesion to the middle of the field for Hearts. Robertson had pulled away on the far side. He gets the throw. And it goes against Scott Crab. Gordon, you were making a point to me about Scott Crab before the game, that Joe Jordan really thought that Crab could be surplus to requirements this season.
Yeah, I think at the start of the season he'd agreed terms with Alec Totten, the St Johnstone manager, for something like £250,000. Well, I'm sure Joe's delighted that Scott Crabbe decided to stay with Hearts. He is Hearts daft, and obviously he's finished up top goal scorer this year. And I'm sure he won't be going anywhere now.
And it was Scott himself who spoke up and asked the manager just to give him another chance, really, to show what he could do now that he was well and healthy. We're halfway through the first half at Tynecastle. And it's Hearts 0, Hibs 0. Robertson. Well, not too many would envy David Syme his task tonight. Talking to Gordon Hunter this time, as Hibs have conceded a number of free kicks. Hearts haven't quite got the service in right. And it is difficult. With the gusts of wind, Baird will challenge for everything that comes within range of him. Here's McKinley. Ferguson. Crabbe trying to come up with a trick or two, and Robertson on the edge of the area. Trying to keep Willie Miller and company from exerting a grip on Hearts' considerable attacking power. McKinley. Here's Crabbe. Can Baird get his head to this one? Not quite. Oh, well, Crabbe hit the shot from the edge of the area and then was trying to get to a ball that was blocked almost back his way. It's a willingness to shoot that we've seen already.
It's just a long ball in for Derek Ferguson. Initially good header for McIntyre, falls for Scott Crabbe, hits it really well, and probably hits one of his own players and stops it getting in there. John Miller, I believe.
Yes, managers like to get their midfield players into the penalty area, but not at the expense of goals.
Yeah, but the game's just huffed and puffed so far. Hearts pushing forward, really not troubling Hibs to any great degree. To be fair, Hibs have defended well, especially the aerial threat against the aerial threat of Ian Baird.
Hamilton. Plenty of movement from Hibs, and plenty of purpose from Levine. Well, each of the back three for Hearts have made outstanding tackles. The feathers of John Robertson being ruffled rather by David Farrell.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure what David Syme's doing here. He's either having a talking to or going to book this Hibs player. Maybe a little bit on the half side. Yes, he's getting in the book.
Well, David Livingston was closer to the incident there. David.
Martin, the Hibs bench were clearly infuriated by it. They felt that it was a foul against Hibs in the first place, and particularly after a few moments before, when Alex Miller had given Willie Miller a shouting match for getting into trouble with the referee. He told him to calm down, and now of course he's getting into trouble, and Alec Miller feels that in this case it's unjust. So all of a sudden this derby match is boiling over down here. Both benches are shouting at each other. It's clearly something different from an ordinary match.
Well, Murdo McLeod trying to restrain his boss then, and I'm sure you saw that one of the representatives of the Edinburgh Police was also trying to restore some calm down there, which is badly needed, I must say.
I don't think they were passing the compliments of the 1992 to one another anyway. But if referees' jobs are difficult enough without Willie Miller doing something stupid like that, fully deserve to be booked.
And if they prolong these protests, Hibs could be in even more disciplinary disarray. So 3 of their players now booked. McGinley, Farrell and Miller. It's great play from Crabb. It's produced a corner. Well, Scott Crabb inside the penalty area then, twisting and turning and almost asking his immediate opponents to try and make a tackle, knowing that he might get a penalty. Levine is forward. McLaren as well on the edge of the area. McPherson waiting by the near post, and all the tension that you expect in a derby game, all the passion on the field as well as off it. Here's McLaren. Wouldn't come down quickly enough for him.
No, this one is way over. They've had one or two opportunities like this in the first half so far. One falling to Scott Crabb. This one coming out the box here, headed out well again, falls to Alan McLaren. It doesn't really quite go over and balloons it away up to the Hibs supporters behind that goal.
A maroon balloon. Picked on by McGinley, who's had an excellent season in midfield for Hibs, getting goals as well as walking between the two penalty areas. And Keith Wright, who is almost a complete striker really. He gets his share of goals. He really works the opposing defence. And it's taking two to try and control him here. And they haven't been able to do it. Ball, and it's a free kick rather than a corner, which Joe Tortolano will take. Henry Smith staying on his line, and McKinley will be first to this, or will he? Yes, just. Foot raised by Robertson, and the book is out again. John Robertson was involved in that fracas on the far side with David Farrell, and now David Syme, I would say, has taken that into account as well.
There's maybe tit for tat here, but in saying that, the Hibs defender's got his head down pretty low, but really it was a little bit dangerous, and David Syme was justified in booking on there.
Linesman's flagging. Referee hasn't seen it. Well, Billy McNeil's watching this with great interest, I'm sure, from our studio. Billy, what do you make of it so far?
Well, I think it's a typical derby match in many ways, but the most important thing Hearts have got to remember is to keep their composure and discipline at the back. They almost gave Hibs a good chance, I think, by being lazy. Hibs are obviously going to soak up an enormous amount of pressure and hope to catch them on the break. And I think they've just got to be disciplined. The markers at the back have just got to be diligent. And big Dave McPherson's got to keep them on their toes.
Thank you, Billy. It's still 0-0. We've had half an hour here. And the statistics so far all been to do with the interpretation put on a series of stoppages by this vastly experienced referee. McGinley. David Syme, the referee, has of course been at Tynecastle before this season. He was in charge, and he may never be allowed to forget it, of the Skoll Cup semi-final between Airdrie and Dunfermline. Mackay seems to something of a facial problem, is it? He's been with them through thick and thin since then. One of the survivors from that extraordinary season in 1986. Along with the goalkeeper, Henry Smith. Hearts ended then with a tag of being a nearly team after contributing so much to that season. Well, they've got an opportunity this year to really make their names again and pick up the most prized trophy for the professionals. To win the league is very, very special. Right, looking to lay it off into the stride of Hamilton. McPherson's clearance. Now McGinley. Right again, showing great appreciation of the game. Here's Tortolano on his good left foot. And Smith in the end, he was probably worrying for a fraction of a second as it dropped beyond the far post, wondering whether he should continue his quest for the ball. But Joe Tortolano's cross drifted harmlessly out of play.
I think Billy McNeil was 100% right there when he said it's important for the Hearts back three, Levine, McPherson and McLaren, to play with a little bit of discipline, because Hibs have showed already in this first half that they are reasonably dangerous in the counter-attack. The people like Mickey Weir, Keith Wright and of course Tortolano pushing up the left.
Well, the ball was off the ground, and if Robertson's was dangerous play, I suppose that was as well. There's nothing too sinister about it.
No, not at all. I think David's saying there's been a few oohs and ahs from the crowd about his performance so far, but I think he's particularly, apart from maybe the one booking, he's got everything right and handled the game well.
Miller. Away by Farrell. And here's Weir trying to express himself, but stopped by Levine. McGinley making room for the pass and happy to hit it over the top for Weir to chase. Dealt with calmly by Mackay. And eased out here to Ferguson. He's certainly done his best in the turmoil going on around him to try and pass the ball with thought and perception. Miller. Robertson coming in on the far post from the Hearts' point of view. And it was just knocked away from him. Robertson again looking to link up with Mackay, and Tortolano scrapes it away from Gary Mackay. 10 minutes to go to half-time.
Good defending there by Tortolano with Gary Mackay and John Robertson. Tried a little 1-2 to try and find some space, but made a good recovery tackle and knocks it out for this corner.
And there's McPherson. And I think it was Wright who knocked it away from him. Crab trying to put the ball back where it had come from, but the wind mitigated against that. Mackay. It was really something of a hit and hope. McPherson has stayed forward. Miller looking to work the ball onto his left foot. John Miller that was. This is Willie Miller bringing it away for Hibs. Well, there was a little ball on for him then to roll it forward to Hamilton, which Willie Miller didn't really see. So, a free kick to Hibs. That's McGinley, and Smith will keep the ball in play easily enough. Hearts winners on Saturday 5-0 away to St Johnstone. And Hibs on their own Easter Road ground with 2 down to Dundee United. They came back in the closing stages to win 3-2. make sure their morale was high for this game. Gareth Evans came on as a substitute, scored twice in 3 minutes and can't get a starting place tonight.
Yeah, I think he'll be a disappointed lad. Obviously, as you say, 2-0 down at home to Dundee United. You come on, score 2 goals, and you don't get in for the big derby match. But we might see him appearing at some stage this evening.
McIntyre. It's McPherson taking charge again. Ferguson. Robertson trying to screen it back for Baird. We're given a chance of intercepting there as Hearts tried to be maybe a little too methodical in their own territory. And the outcome of that is a free kick. McIntyre has stayed back, but Gordon Hunter has joined right, and McGinley and Weir on the edge of the penalty area. And the cry is to Henry Smith from his teammates, but it's easy to say and not quite so easy to accomplish from the goalkeeper's point of view in these circumstances. Another puff of the wind that's blowing around Edinburgh, and in fact the ball dropped nowhere near the goalkeeper. It's a stray one by Crabb. Here's Ferguson. Scott Crabb running the ball all the time. Involving Ferguson again. Portolano. Hamilton going in with Miller. Willie Miller doing well, spotting the run of Hunter. Baird's come all the way back with him.
Great defensive work there being Baird, because he spotted the danger there from a long way back. Gordon Hunter started making his run from 15 yards inside his own half. Seen that Mickey Weir was going to get the flick on, and Ian Baird covered the run. Great defensive work for the centre forward.
Well, the two sides here not only trying to beat each other, but trying to beat the elements as well. And to do that, trying just to control their own emotions. Certainly since the Sveda bookings, maybe a greater feeling that the referee has exerted his authority. Robertson onside. Crabb bursting to get up with him. Ferguson is there as well. And Beaumont knocks it away. Levine. Just didn't quite read the bounce.
It's important that Hearts don't start getting impatient. I mean, obviously it's vitally important, this game tonight. I mean, we're talking about league championships. They're running into a bit of trouble and running into a brick wall in the Hibs back four.
Foul by Levine on Weir. He's buzzing around him like a mosquito then. Hearts are unbeaten at home in the league. We saw them here on Sky Sports losing the Skull Cup to Rangers on this ground. But they have actually found their most flowing football in away games. An amazing 11 away wins in the Premier League. McPherson's free kick. Held up well by Crabb. The early ball from Ferguson. Difficult for defenders and attackers alike to know exactly where the pass that is above the Tynecastle turf is going to drop. John Robertson is close to another milestone in Hearts colours. He scored 148 league goals for them, all of which makes it quite amazing that he went south to Newcastle and had some 8 months there and didn't score a senior goal for them over that time. It was a nightmare time for John.
Yeah, Scottish football's littered with a lot of people that went down to England and haven't made it, but there's plenty went down and had it off in a big way as well.
Present company included. Farrell will certainly please Hibs if they get to half-time with their goal intact. They've worked hard to stop Hearts settling into any real rhythm. They've done enough to challenge McLaren and McPherson and Levine at the back, rationing their movements forward. But in Mickey Weir, a really tricky customer, as he proves again. Oh, McGinley's offside. He's offside. It doesn't count for Hibs, but they show again the threat that they can mount.
Well, he does get forward a lot and scores a lot of goals, but actually the linesman's got his flag well up before the ball even reaches Pat McGinley here. It's knocked out. Hamilton plays. I think Hamilton tried a shot here, but it ends up landing at McGinley's feet. Loops it over Smith, but the linesman's flag was up and he was well offside.
If you think not only Hamilton miskicked, but McGinley miskicked as well. He wouldn't have minded, of course, if he had ended up properly in the back of the net. Here comes Smith. And he hasn't got to it. Against Miller, a chance for Hibs now. And it was Ferguson who has provided the coolest moments in the first half, who intervened well for Hearts. Here's McIntyre. Maybe a chance for Hearts to snatch one before half-time. There are only seconds to go in the first half. And it breaks down rather tamely. Weir. A little bit of a nudge on him by Alan McLaren. And the free kick taken too quickly. I think what gives even more fire to this derby is the number of players on each side who are born and bred into the club, really, like Alan McLaren at Hearts, who I think watched his first game here as a 6-year-old. They really care. Mickey Weir, who's Hibs daft. Keith Wright as well. It's David Beaumont to take the free kick for Hibs. Wright trying to get free, and it goes towards him, and he is free. And it's offside again. Weir this time. So we're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Miller. Down goes John Miller, deposited there by Hamilton. And he's off the field of play at the moment, so David Syme can restart the game, as I'm sure he will want to do so. And in fact, John Miller very quickly back on the pitch. We've had a minute of stoppage time. Here's Baird. Ian Baird, born in England, played a lot in England, but of Scottish origins. Now, can Crabb make something here right at the last, at the first half? And Hibs standing firm again. But they may have one more difficult moment to endure. Weir is penalised. There is one more difficult moment before half-time. So the free kick with Ferguson. And Baird trying to get to it. And if he couldn't get to it, he was trying to indicate to the referee that he was shoved.
Yeah, it was a nice little free kick that was flighted in. But it was just a yard or two away from Ian Baird, and there was really no chance at all of him getting to it. But in situations like that tonight, free kicks on the edges of boxes, Hibs have defended particularly well.
And Alec Miller's reshaped team with its young goalkeeper. The wind isn't easy to predict, but certainly the feeling from the commentary position is that it should help Hearts a bit more in the second half, if indeed it can help anyone. And certainly Smith's clearance veering away to the far side beyond Gary Mackay. And that's an indication of what the players have to deal with. And you do expect in the second half this revamped Hibs defence to be put under more pressure. And that 20-year-old Chris Reed coming in for the 4th game in a row for John Burridge, playing only in the Premier League for the 7th time. And he might have more work to do in the second half. David McPherson has got to make sure there's no loss of concentration in that half of the field. Judged by Farrell. McIntyre providing the cover behind him as he did for much of the first half. Whistle's gone. David Syme right on top of the problems again. He is a big man, the referee, and he presides with natural authority. Farrell taking the free kick. We're beaten to it by Alan McLaren. McGinley. And Wright looking to get in behind Levine. And he's done that. The ball's still in play. It's awkward for Smith. And it was McLaren who cleared the shot from McGinley.
Keith Wright plays this well. Good swinging cross, which is a nightmare for goalkeepers on a night like this. Alan McLaren gets a good header in. Derek Ferguson just never quite gets the clearance. McGinley whacks one, and I tell you, that wasn't far away at all. Just swerved away at the last moment.
Well, we do sense that the tricky gust of the wind might be responsible for deciding this match one way or the other. It's a dive by Ian Baird. Kick. And this is going to test the nerves of the young goalkeeper in another sense as well. Hardly getting within 15 yards of the halfway line, but Hibs managed to progress nevertheless. And Wright is capable of really worrying the living daylights out of opponents, even as experienced as Dave McPherson.
Well, initially there's a little bit of indecision between McLaren and McPherson, but for me, Wright fouls McPherson here, and he's gave the kick the opposite way. A strange decision indeed.
Well, this time McIntyre has been sent up to join McGinley and Wright. And Hibs have wasted that.
Well, that was a complete waste of a free kick, because in conditions like these, as we said, it really is a nightmare for goalkeepers. And you just hang anything up into the box, and you could get knockdowns and scraps, and somebody could go on the end of it.
Well won by Hamilton. Here's Wright. He takes them on again. It's with plenty of justification to feel that they Oh, Hearts won 3 years since Hearts were beaten by Hibs. Mickey Weir making up the ground again here on McPherson. I'm sure tell us all afterwards that he had that situation totally under control. Well, David Livingston has been assessing the mood as the two managers settle for the second half. David.
Martin, Joe Jordan, having been more animated in the first half than I've ever seen him, is back to that deep and passive look in the dugout. And I think he senses that despite the wind advantage, Hearts, he's not animated, he's more animated now, but Hearts seem to be caught on occasions by Hibs, and he seems to be getting worried about that. And it's very obvious from the Hibs bench that they're fancy their chances now.
Well, Hibs are offering great movement and industry in attack with their W formation, if you like, Weir and right. And McPherson having to play safe.
I think Joe's every right to be a bit concerned about the way things are going for Hearts, because they really haven't. The first 45 minutes in the start of this haven't gone well at all.
Good headed down by Tortolano. Hamilton making an extra man in this Hibs attack, but matched all the way by John Miller.
I think the wind's beginning to swirl a bit more now, and as we mentioned, Hibs do make things difficult getting everybody behind the ball, and I think we want to see a little bit more width from Hearts, maybe getting Gary Mackay push forward, Tosh McKinley, Derek Ferguson on the ball a bit more, prodding out to wide areas.
Well, there is a temptation when conditions are in your favour to let the wind try and do the work, but it doesn't always pan out from that position. And still, there really hasn't been a very anxious moment for Chris Reed. John Burridge, incidentally, saying before the game how upset he has been to be missing over these recent matches. Described himself as in prime form when he got an injured fist. Crab holding it up well. Here's Mackay. Hibs standing their ground again. Ferguson's cross. Well, goalkeeper had to scamper a bit more then from Beaumont's back pass. Hibs really playing, although they've got 4 defenders without fullbacks, because 3 of those 4 defenders are doing marking jobs. McIntyre sweeping.
Well, they're having to be smart at the back, the Hearts back 4, because that's something Keith Wright's terrific at, pulling off defenders and knocking nice, sliding nice through passes through.
McPherson trying to play it forward with some control to Baird. Ferguson, Baird again. McKinley to the left, Baird powering on, not for very far though. McPherson was well aware of the run of Keith Wright then. Levine.
Really, the back 3 of Hearts have really been so impressive this season. I mean, I think they've only conceded something like a handful of goals in the whole in the league and cups at Tynecastle so far this season. But it's the other end they're having problems tonight. Really, Robertson, Crab and Baird getting no joy at all against the experienced McIntyre and Hunter.
And the youngster Farrell, who's certainly not looked out of place. Hamilton. Trying to angle it through with that handball by Miller, it was. We're coming up to the 10-minute mark in the second half. And when we were expecting it, as Miller would claim perhaps a bit of self-defence here, but They've travelled far enough, the referee ruled, for that to be intentional. That's might have expected to be forcing the pace there. Pegged back again. And it's in from Mickey Weir, but the whistle had gone again. So for the second time, Hibs get one chalked off, but also for the second time, I'm sure the referee absolutely right. And the whistle had gone before Weir got to the ball.
Yeah, it's a well-worked free kick, this one. Thinks a little free kick in, the flick on. And I think it's for the foul for climbing in Davy McPherson there. Maybe a little bit fortunate, because Mickey Weir certainly punished it. Good flick on. I think you see here start to climb over Davy McPherson here. The referee gives the defender the benefit of the doubt.
I just wonder whether Mickey Weir was in an offside position as the ball came in. But it certainly seemed to be for a push that the goal was disallowed for. The referee reacted very quickly. But Hibs are coming close. Trying to end this 3 years. Although they've managed to draw a number of games, 4 of them in fact, 2 of those this season in league games against Hearts. They've lost 7 and they badly need a victory, and they're hunting a crucial goal here with Tortolano. Oh, and McLaren, nearly an own goal. Is it in? It must be in. Well, David Syme has ruled out another one. An amazing episode, right on the line.
Well, Hibs looking more and more dangerous as the game goes on. A terrific little ball in here. McLaren slides in, knocks off his stomach. Smith lets it, slips out his hand a little bit. Well, I don't know. I didn't see a great deal wrong with that.
Was it handball?
Must have been difficult for the referee to see it in front of all those bodies.
Well, the atmosphere really boiling up again here. And Hibs claiming a sense of injustice. But I just wonder, as the ball rolled loose then, whether Hibs' hand got onto the ball. And that's what David Syme saw. Here's Bear. And the unpredictability of derby games, very evident again. A trip on McKinley by Hunter. And that furious spell in the first half, that might well have meant a booking, but oh, what a brave challenge that was by both parties. Levine and Hamilton, that really summed up the night. And on goes the game. Tortolano's cross is a deep one, knocked back by Willie Miller to Hamilton again, right, and Weir in the centre. Hibs taking the initiative, taking the attack to Hearts. And they have a corner. And that is no more than they deserve. Some furrowed brows in the Hearts defence. McIntyre waiting deep into the goal area. The ball doesn't get that far. Powell reacting quickly. Hearts trying to push out. Not able to play on the break themselves here with Mackay. Everything bubbling now around Gary Mackay. His Hearts had 6 players forward, they're still there. Bad. And he hasn't had much to challenge for in the air, which is very much his strength. And he didn't get a free header in then, thanks to Willie Miller.
This is more like it. The whole game's opened up now. Just comes inside, whips across, Baird, and just couldn't go over the ball here. But the game's really opened up now with Hibs going at Hearts, and Hearts hitting Hibs now in the counter-attack.
Mackay. The wind might carry that behind. Hibs are certainly hoping for that, and it's an old adage in football, Gordon, that sometimes it is easier to play into the wind.
Well, I was never quite sure. I'm certainly, as a central defender myself, I certainly preferred facing the wind, because there was nothing worse than the ball. You think you've got it, if you think you're just about to head it away, and it starts drifting away for you. And it's the same for all defenders, and goalkeepers in particular. Not easy conditions for them at all. And I think it's always defenders that are liable to make the mistakes in conditions like these just now. But at least we've got a game on now. Both teams going flat out for that goal.
Ian Ferguson is the striker amongst the two substitutes on the Hearts bench, along with former Manchester United defender Graham Hogg. But Hibs showing off again the sort of spirit that was so prevalent in the Skull Cup run. And certainly we're in the best phase of the game, without a shadow of a doubt. It's been a much better second half. And Hibs building cleverly again, although they didn't get quite so far that time. Once more, earlier in that move, Keith Wright had made himself available. Such an asset to his home team's, the Hibs team defenders, who can pick him out. The change for Hearts, and Scott Crabb goes off to be replaced by Ian Ferguson. So the leading scorer departs. That, in a way, is a moral victory for Hibs. One striker for another. There are many Ian Fergusons dotted around the Scottish game. This one was signed from Wraith Rovers. His first season in the Premier League. What he does bring an advantage over Scott Crabb, Ian Ferguson, is a bit more height. Suggests maybe that they want to give Baird some extra help in that respect if the ball is going to be pumped in the air into the penalty area. Baird fighting for it on the corner of the box at the moment. Miller. Ferguson called for it, got it, and then lost it to Hamilton. Tortolano is the man over on the left, and McGinley finds him. We're making a good run. Hamilton involved again. And Hibs have got so many players forward here. Can they find a definitive shot at the end of it? And the answer is in the negative. Brought out by McLaren. Not easy for a substitute to get attuned to the pace of a match such as this. Ian Ferguson doing enough to bring Gary Mackay into the move, and then Baird is offside, well away from the ball.
They've been very dangerous, Hibs, when they've broke down that left-hand side. I think maybe it's time Alan McLaren was pulling Gary Mackay back a little bit, because he's getting left one-against-one situations probably too often for comfort.
And of course, Joe Tortolano started out as a left winger, and although he's played a lot recently as a left back, he's revelling the chance to get forward in this game.
Yeah, well, the situation he loves, running on a one-to-one situation against the fullback.
John Miller, bit of a hand-off there by Hamilton. Hearts have been away to a hotel on the New Year's Eve to get away from the potential pressure of home life. They treated the game, as Joe Jordan has been saying, as though it was a European tie. And here is Ferguson! What an arrival! And really, against the run of play, Hearts have snatched the lead in the most dramatic fashion. Ian Ferguson sent on to try and pep things up, and how well he's done it.
Well, not a bad substitution here. I mean, it's a long free kick. We were talking about Ferguson's aerial ability when he came on. McPherson flicks it on, but it's actually a great right foot half volley here that comes again Hearts' way. Terrific finish. Long punt into the penalty box. Good flick on from David McPherson. Just goes over the back of the defender's head here. Just waits on it, times it lovely, and a terrific right foot shot right into the top of the net.
Well, it's his second goal for Hearts, and he has really changed the complexion of a game that was getting dangerously difficult for the home side. A raw recruit has influenced the pattern of proceedings here, where those who've been through it so often haven't been able to do that job. We've got rain mixed with the wind now, as the elements reflect the drama of the evening. Well, that was a magnificent shot in any circumstances, but in the midst of a derby that was at boiling point, well, it was more than Joe Jordan had any right to expect.
It was a brave decision by Joe, taking off a very popular player like Scott Crabbe, but really none of the strikers could have complained if they came off, because they hadn't really been producing the goods tonight, and it's turned out a masterstroke.
But Weir could be in for an equaliser straight away. It's a great stop by Henry Smith. A magnificent save to snatch the equaliser away from Mickey Weir.
Well, I can tell you time and time again this has happened this season. Henry Smith having an absolutely magnificent season. You might have expected Mickey Weir to finish that one there, but nevertheless still a great save by a goalkeeper that's having a great season.
Well, it was a clear-cut chance. Hibs have also had the ball in the Hearts net 3 times, although certainly on 2 occasions the reason for disallowing the goals has been absolutely clear, and I think we did manage to clear up the third one as well. Well, Hearts invested something around £100,000 for Ian Ferguson from Wraith Rovers, and I think he's paid it all back. It certainly will be if it's the winner tonight, but that's by no means a certainty the way Hibs are playing.
Well, they're a team that plays with tremendous spirit, obviously, winning the Skull Cup, 2-0 down at home to the United on Saturday, come back to win the match. As you say, the way they're playing just now, you certainly can't rule them out.
Mackay. And poor Chris Reed, who's done nothing wrong in the Hibs goal as the deputy again for John Burridge. Well, the shot flashed past him and crashed in off the underside of the bar. Beaumont with the throw. Hibs are up against it. And yet they've really had more to be satisfied with in their overall performance than the team that's going to go back to the top of the league if they avoid defeat tonight. The ball was something of an irrelevance at the end of all that. Free kick against Tortolano.
Well, Gary Mackay could quite easily get Tortolano into trouble here. He really does take him from behind, but Gary Mackay, being the good professional that he is, just gets up and gets on with it.
It's a throw. Mackay to take it. Here's Ferguson. Robertson. Now Derek Ferguson. Robertson again. There's more room now for the attackers. Oh, and in fact, Baird stopped expecting a free kick then when he might have got to the ball. Hearts quickly have claimed it back again. And have a corner. Dave McPherson showing his versatility and the freedom that he's allowed in this system to get forward. Well, he was in behind Hibs then.
It was a terrific tackle there by Joe Tortolano and big David McPherson. It's dangerous in those situations for a big central defender. Encouraged to go forward.
Well, it's come to McLaren. On a good save. That was an excellent piece of handling in the circumstances from Chris Reed.
Yeah, the corner comes across. I mean, absolutely no chance with the goal, young Chris Reed. And whack. Great handling there in difficult conditions, as I've mentioned already.
But Hibs are not taking that setback and lying down. Here's Hunter. Trying to play on the ball like Mickey Witt. And he's done it. Penalty! Well, the show of initiative from Gordon Hunter. The captain really taking the game by the scruff of its neck and making something happen here for Hibs.
Well, a lovely bit of skill here for Gordon Hunter. And Tosh McKinley just pulling at his shut a little bit here, but no, that's a harsh penalty, believe you me.
Well, Tommy McIntyre came through the difficulties of taking a penalty in the Skull Cup final. And he scored at a crucial stage against Dunfermline. But if anything, this is more nerve-wracking. It's McIntyre, he's rolled it into the corner. And totally deceived Henry Smith. 1-1.
Yeah, nice penalty by Tommy McIntyre. We've seen him before taking him in the Skull Cup final. Cool as a cucumber. Henry Smith dives one way. Tommy McIntyre knocks it in the other way. Well taken penalty.
Well, it was 0-0 at the end of August. 1-1 here in Edinburgh at Easter Road at the beginning of November in the last derby, and it's 1-1 again now. And Hibs may not settle for that. They're certainly giving an effervescent display. And I must say the replay, to agree with you, Gordon, it did look a harsh penalty. But all credit to Gordon Hunter, who gave Hearts the problems. They're not just settling and doing the easy thing.
Yeah, I think he's a player that's been with Hibs some time and he's been underrated for such a long while. I think it's just this season with Hibs coming to the fore, he's beginning to get a bit of the credit that he deserves.
Beaumont. That's given away by John Miller. Here's Willie Miller, and Hunter wanting to get forward again. It's handball by Robertson. And with the help of the linesman, the referee got it absolutely right. Free kick to Hibs. Foul to take it. Henry Smith, in the end, found the ball within reach, but only just. There were two challenges there that nearly brought a goal for Hibs.
Keith Wright just misses it. Gordon Hunter once again gets in here. And Henry Smith makes a brave save here, and a good save. And they could have been going behind there.
Well, it was 0-0 when we last heard from David Livingston. David, how have the goals been received on the benches?
Well, obviously in the Hibs dugout, Alex Miller and his team are delighted with that goal, but the goal perhaps is as much a tribute to them as it is to the players on the field, because after Ian Ferguson scoring for the Hearts, I mean, Alex Miller was furious about that because he had tried to counter that substitution by telling him to take up good position with Ian Ferguson, and then they lost the goal. But there was no panic. He felt he had the system right. He didn't go for substitutes. He just calmed down his players, asked them to keep playing the system, and they've got their reward.
We're certainly 1-0 down. It would have been no surprise for Gareth Evans to have been called on, but Mike Miller pleased, and justifiably pleased, with the way that his starting 11 had sorted it out thus far, even though they were trailing. But they're not trailing now. 15 minutes to go. All the really explosive play now. And that's going to be another problem for the referee to sort out.
It's always difficult in situations like this when Mickey Weir's on the ball, because he's so good at turning here that sometimes defenders do get caught out when really there's been no real malice in the tackle in the first place. And I think David Sainz spotted that, because he never really had a word with Alan McLaren at all. Just sent for the trainer for Mickey Weir.
Well, Tynecastle is heaving. They've seen some great derbies down the years, and this has come alive in the second half. And the players have done very well to master the conditions, and Hibs in particular delighting their supporters, who are trying to roar their favourites towards taking the lead now. Headed back towards right by Hunter. Beaumont. Met by McPherson. Hunter there again. And McIntyre come forward at the free kick. Oh. Well, Gordon Hunter put his hands to his head then in disappointment. It was only a minor error, really, but I think he was sensitive to the fact that it might just be rocking a little bit if Hibs could have sustained that attack. It's a clever little reverse pass towards Tortolano that was just overhit. Mackay with the throw.
Well, I think Hearts will be glad to get out their own half here, because Hibs had them under some sustained pressure there for a few minutes.
But the game still very much there for the winning. Ferguson. He's got the ball again. Derek Ferguson this time. And some storming play by Craig Levine.
Keith Wright back now defending against a central defender. I'm not so sure whether there was a great deal in that, although he's won the free kick, and probably difficult situation, taking this wind into consideration. And what will he do here? Will he swing one under the bar for young Chris Reid to see how he deals with it? Aim for a flick on from McPherson, which is a ploy they quite often use. They look for the flick on from David McPherson at the near post.
Well, Craig Levine, who defied the doctors a few years ago with a very serious knee injury. He's got a fibre implant in one of his knees, I believe. He's off the pitch. Let's take the free kick. Oh, look at the wind there. Well, that's maybe the biggest gust of the night. And it's still mixed with rain. Levine may have to end his part in the proceedings. Billy McNeil watching, I'm sure, with even greater interest in the second half. Billy, it's been a much better second half, not just for the goals.
No, it's been very much a real competitive game, and I think a lot of that's down to Hibs. They've come out and played the second half. I felt in the first half they were content to absorb the pressure and perhaps hitting the break, but they've taken the game to Hearts this half. They're probably a bit disappointed that it's 1-1 at this stage, but it's a very, very good game. And, you know, if we think about it as a derby, it's been very, very exciting and very absorbing the second half.
McLaren. Maybe a major thrill to come for Hearts here, but they're stopped on the edge of the area, brought away by Hamilton. He's looked such a well-balanced player in the middle of Hibs midfield. player built on sleek lines. Craig Levein still flexing that injury and having a word with the bench. Having to jump here and winning the ball. Weir. Now Tortolano. Needing to have another run, knowing that Beaumont's there behind him. Farrell demanding the ball. There's been a great deal of composure in possession from Hibs. And Hearts have really had to work for a share of the spoils if it's going to pan out that way. He wouldn't be sure of it at this stage. Although there are only 9 minutes to go. McIntyre. And good work on the ground from Ferguson. Expert defending by young Farrell. Conscious of the threat of Ian Baird, who's been kept out of harm's way for most of the night so far.
Yes, a terrific cross in here. This young lad Farrell's been very impressive tonight. I mean, it must have been a bigger deal for him playing in the local derby, particularly the way Hearts are going just now.
McKinley to take the corner. And that's where they're trying to catch out and prey on the inexperience of Chris Reed. The ball just plopped into the side netting. For Mickey Weir, who really has run himself into the ground, goes off, and Gareth Evans, who made such a dramatic impact, 2 goals in 3 minutes when he came on at Easter Road on Saturday to turn things around for Hibs against Dundee United. Making sure that even if Levein fouled him, the ball was going in the proper direction for Hibs. And Evans is a very busy striker. Header from Farrell. We saw McLaren lost his bearings, and Evans looking to try and slip it through to right, and is obviously thinking better of it now. Could have taken it on himself. It came so quickly after his arrival from the bench. Offside.
Yeah, Hearts could have been in a bit of trouble there with a better weighted pass from Gareth Evans into Keith Wright's path, just knocked it too far in front of him.
John Miller heads it back to Beaumont, who'd taken the free kick. Good work by McLaren. John Miller. Eric Ferguson again, trying to unlock the door. Mackay. Well, Levein can loft it in, and that's just what he does, but it's not really deep enough for Hearts. It'll come for Ferguson, Derek Ferguson that is. It is a corner. Hearts now make the inevitable second change with Craig Levein limping off. In comes Graham Hogg. He's very anxious to get upfield.
Because Big Hoggy goes straight up for this set piece, and I'll tell you what, he's a big brave lad, and if he sees the ball anywhere about there, he'll lodge himself at it.
Well, one substitution has paid off for Joe Jordan. Can the second, although in different circumstances, do the same? Oh, it's a real problem from that far side. The wind not really blowing down the pitch, more across it. McPherson given a lot of room here, more than Hibs would have liked. Keith Wright knocks it away. He comes straight back again from Graham Hogg, but not in a damaging way. 5 minutes to go. And Hearts trying to compress Hibs here into an area around their own penalty area. Beaumont needing a good grip. one way to make some progress down the touchline. Only a crowd of just over 20,000. The ground that holds not too much more than that. This on a day when Rangers have won the Glasgow derby. Is there going to be a winner on the Edinburgh occasion? McLaren. Hibs at least have kept Robertson from doing any serious damage, which is a rarity in itself.
Yeah, he's quite partially scoring against Hibs, but he's been kept very quiet indeed tonight, as has the whole Hearts front line. Of course, apart from young Ian Ferguson when he came on and scored immediately.
And I'm sure Ian Ferguson gets confused with others of the same name playing in the Premier League, but he has announced himself to a wide audience tonight. The 23-year-old striker. Going for this one. He's finding out at first hand what he knew from watching from the bench, that heading the ball tonight is a precarious business. Evans was unnecessarily conceded really a free kick in those circumstances by Alan McLaren. Evans really was going nowhere. And it's a chance now, maybe for Hibs to nose their way into the lead. It'd be a great time to score with the seconds ticking away. Well, McGinley got to it, and there was no one able to fasten onto it on the edge of the area. It's an inviting ball from John Robertson towards Tosh McKinley, but blown off course really and allowed Willie Miller to get back. 2 minutes left. Well, Hunter pressed by Ian Ferguson. His contributions haven't just stopped with the goal since he's come on. There's Hogg blocking the route forward for Wright.
I think full credit to both sets of players. They've served us up a terrific second 45 minutes here, what is really very difficult conditions with this wind swirling about. Difficult to get the ball down and knock passes about, but it's been a super second half.
We're into the final minute. Hamilton running into Derek Ferguson. Well, there's the scene set for John Robertson here. Baird. Hearts are getting players into the middle now. If McKinley can deliver the cross. It's a bit static in there. And repositioning now, and still McKinley, for all his efforts, can't get very far, and then he ends it all by fouling Hunter.
Well, I think he's a little bit entitled to be feeling a bit tired, Gordon Hunter there, feeling a little bit of cramp, because he really has been outstanding in the heart of the back four, in the heart of the back four tonight.
Stoppage time, and in fact there's only 10 seconds of that. Another draw in the Edinburgh derby, 3 out of 3 now this season. Tommy McIntyre came up with a poised penalty to equalise. A terrific opening goal for Hearts by Ian Ferguson. And Hearts continue to forge on.